What up, it's your boy Kerry Too Smooth. I just wanted to hop on here really quick and I wanted to share some information with you. People ask me all the time about like practice routines and what you should practice on. And I just wanted to really just dive into some ideas and concepts that you can really work on that are going to help improve you as a guitarist, especially when it comes to R&B. And the thing that I really want you to focus on is how you can take a progression and really just dig into that progression and work on the various nuances of it. Like an upstroke here, a hammer on here, a double stop movement here, even taking the same progression and playing it in a different position in order to give you different voicing so you don't find yourself playing the same exact thing every single time. Those are the things that I want you to think about, because it's too easy to be fixated on like, oh, I can play the progression and that's it, and just blow past it and not really understand the various nuances that you can do to perfect your playing, so that way you can have different elements that'll differentiate you from different guitar players. And what I mean by differentiate, I mean like set you apart, like you'll be on a different spectrum, you'll be on a higher level, because again, you've taken the attention to detail to really understand how to make your guitar playing stand out in a positive way, not in a negative way. So I'm gonna take elements from Justin Timberlake's Till the End of Time and just use that kind of progression to really kind of explain what I'm talking about. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. And even when I do that pick up, that hammer on, like understanding just not trying to overkill the hammer on, just the subtleties of. And when I go to that E minor, instead of playing a regular minor 7, that note in there, taking that note out, so it's a little bit softer. And even that movement, like understanding how you can add melodies to your chords, like little small subtle movements that you can use to enhance what you're doing, to embellish what you're doing. That movement alone, it's just, you can do those chords, but taking that like melodic line and then using like double stop movements, so that way you're not killing, you don't have that much dead space when you're playing. You're able to kind of fill up that space. And then doing like the reverse, like arpeggiation. So taking the same progression that we did down here, taking that G, F sharp, B minor, E over B minor. So doing that same progression. That way you're already expanding how you approach the song, so that way you're not just fixated and just playing the same thing and kind of just like trying to figure out how to do so many hammer-ons. Like that can be overkill. So you want to be tasteful and just really intentional with your placement when it comes to actually doing the hammer-on. So sometimes changing the voicing of the chord progression and playing the same kind of chord progression in different places will give you that much more options when it comes to like expanding like your chord approach to playing the progression, because again, we're essentially playing the same thing, but we're playing it in two different positions. So understanding, like when you're doing movements like that, work on being intentional when you do those movements, because there's a small window that you want to fit all of that stuff in. You don't want to just play for the sake of playing. You want to play so that way you nail that spot every single time. Like I want to make sure that I'm getting that, even to slide, like knowing where to slide to. You could spend so much time just locking in on those particular movements. Like you hear me striking the strings of the attack, like the dynamics of rising and falling, being like a percussive drum. And even too, like even using that same movement, and even in that, I'm changing like the approach. Like instead of just doing this, you can do that a whole bunch of times, but then you heard me doing it. So it's just taking the same thing, like when you're doing your practice time, that attention to detail to really understand it. You can change little small subtleties within the progression to really get a lot of nuggets out of it. It's not you doing a whole bunch of hammer-ons and movements all here and there and it's just trying to, because you see guys going up and down the neck of the guitar, but it's about the intentional placement. I'm essentially playing the same progression in two different spots. I'm adding some subtleties here and there. I could go and do a whole bunch of things, but that comes from the attention to detail of playing in the same progression, understanding the nuances of it, taking out nuggets here, adding nuggets there, taking out a movement here, adding a movement there, like really experimenting with some things and just setting and being like, okay, cool, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to make it more distinct. This is how I'm going to make this stand out in such a way that it makes sense. So just like, again, let's go back through it again. Like the dynamics of playing that kind of movement. Like even when I'm doing my tremolo bar, I'm like, I want to be intentional. I don't want to be too aggressive. Like even just staying on that, just perfecting that. So there's so many nuggets. I don't want you to take for granted that it's progression that you played before and then you overlook it. Go back to stuff that you've done before. Really sit in those progressions. Really take the time to dissect what you can add, what you can take away, and then doesn't miss like it's missing anything. So even too, like I want to give this example, like understanding like, why do you do a hammer on the second chord versus like doing it? Because it's about setting it up. Just a real quick. I'm not doing a whole bunch on that second chord. That's just too much because you're clogging up that space. You want to be able to, it's like you're subtle in your approach. It's like you're dropping out little crumbs, but the people who are paying attention will grab those crumbs. You don't want to like overkill that moment. Two, you have to be careful of not trying to like throw all your stuff out at the same time. It's easy for me, I can do it. But you want to be subtle in your approach because again, what you don't want to do is take away from the song. You want to add to the song. So you have to be really careful to ensure that you're not like fighting with the singer and trying to be like, let me show you what I got. You know, it's really important to not just try to overkill and overstep your boundaries. You want to play within the boundaries. So those are just some concepts, some things to really think about when it comes to you in your practice time, really taking the time to dig back into those progressions, really work through the progressions and find where you can massage it to make it sound even better. And then even too, when you're playing in one position, find the other position so you can change the voices to give yourself that many more options when you're playing. So you just don't have dead space, and learn how to be percussive with your instrument. Because you can technically be a drum, you can be the bass guitar, you can play guitar stuff, of course, and you can play like stuff like a keyboard player. So this instrument provides a lot of things that you can do. So these are things that you want to think about. And if you love this kind of stuff, you're going to love the stuff that I'm teaching you more personal when you go to Kerry2Spoon.com, because I have so much many more things to offer you, like free lessons and other types of stuff that really give you, and paid lessons as well, that are really going to give you the type of nuggets to really make you better as a guitarist.